That was a nice new piece. I haven't heard that one before, featuring a lot of our female New Thought artists. So normally Amber would offer the vocal selection. However, the voice is asking for some rest. And so Karen Drucker was a nice expression of honoring the female energy this morning. Welcome, Ed. Nice to see you. We are a spiritual community located here in Monterey, California. Am I live? Just checking in with my team. We record this portion of our time together for our Facebook family and for our YouTube channel. And so I'm just checking in with my team to make sure that everything is set to go. So welcome those who are joining us via Facebook and via YouTube. We love you, we appreciate you, and we're glad that you're here. And if you're new, the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living is a New Thought metaphysical community practicing the teachings and the principles of science of mind. This month, our theme is What If? Inviting us to use our imagination to realize the possible when we pursue happiness as a shared practice in which all of the desires of our hearts are fulfilled from within. And most of what we teach within Science of Mind is that all of the activity begins within. And so we come to you on Sunday morning or on Wednesdays or whenever we gather to remind us, to remind me, to remind all of us that it all begins within. Our classes, our workshops, our music, all of our readings are centered around this idea and the reminder that everything begins within. And so today our topic is, want to change the world? Then do it. Sounds simple? The practice is a little bit more of a challenge if you're willing to accept the challenge. We will explore how joy, equity, and compassion can transform our lives and the collective spirit, this collective energy that we share together. And I'd like to begin with a quote from our founder, Ernest Holmes. And this comes from Basic Ideas of the Science of Mind. And he says, make a practice of looking for the good in others and praising it. And make yourself do this also. So when we look for the good in the others, what we're seeing is a reflection of the good that is within us. So it's a reminder that as we praise one another, we are also praising ourselves. And it's perfectly okay to do that. Within the framework of the teachings of Science of Mind, we ask this question: what if changing the world isn't about force or control? What if changing the world isn't about force or control? What if it's about transforming thought, belief, and consciousness so deeply within that our outer actions and our shared systems naturally shift, allowing us to embrace a collective pursuit of happiness and inner security? You know, each teaching has its own lexicon or vocabulary, if you will, and so one of our Science of Mind speak expressions, if you will, is change your thinking, change your life. And this is actually based in Scripture also. I believe it is in Romans in the New Testament. Is a reminder that change your thinking, we change our thinking, we change our lives. And that change is rooted in imagination. Imagination plays a key role here. Our vivid imaginations provide us with an opportunity to see the divine in each other. When we look for it, we see it. We can see imagination as a tool for collective liberation. When we envision a world where everyone's happiness is a shared goal, we sow the seeds for systems and cultures that bring that vision to life. Imagination allows us to look beyond the limits of how it's always been and to create what can be and what could be. So we're always looking in that realm of infinite possibilities for what is next. What is this grand surprise that Spirit has in store? And how can I lovingly embrace this surprise through my imagination? Just imagination. Just imagine, what if the world was at peace? What if everything in my life was flowing and ebbing and flowing, and that when those so-called challenges seem to come to me, then I have the power within me to embrace those, to face those, knowing that this too will pass. Imagination is also a tool for collective liberation. When we can envision a world where everyone's happiness is a shared goal, we sow the seeds for the systems and cultures that bring the vision of life. Imagination allows us to move from, as I have said, what always was and to create what could be. We begin to see equity and joy not as possible, but as certain, and we emerge these changes from the inside out. The more clearly we hold this vision of equity, this vision of peace, this vision of joy, the more it influences our shared consciousness and over time, our shared reality. So again, everything begins in mind. Everything begins with our consciousness. And as we embrace an expanded idea of what if, not only does it become our reality, but we realize that it's a shared reality because our consciousness lifts the world. Happiness as a birthright and a community responsibility is rooted in our shared connections to life. You know, one of the things that we say, one of the foundations of our spiritual mind treatment or of the teachings of our philosophy is that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole, it is perfect, it is complete. It is the life that I am living now. And so in our shared connections, making the pursuit of happiness as a spiritual practice involves committing ourselves to creating conditions where everyone can live in peace, in harmony, and thrive. This includes addressing inherent wounds and systemic practices that prevent us from experiencing joy. And so this is where it becomes a shared responsibility, not only for looking at our lives, but for identifying those systems that deny us, in some cases, or deny others of the true value of living and thriving in a world that works for all. Seeing God in each other is a foundation for equity, and it sets the stage for us to truly see God in each other. We dismantle those invisible walls that divide us. We move from the other, or labeling something that we don't understand or don't know about as other. We move from that which divides us into erasing differences. And we honor the uniqueness that is within the cosmic wholeness. So in erasing that which divides, those lines blur. You know, it's like the thinking of the tide coming in and erasing whatever is in the sand that has been created. I'm thinking of kids when they're at the beach and they're drawing sand. They're using their imagination, you know, and drawing, what's the word I'm for? Sandcastles, yeah, sandcastles, something like that. And then the tide comes in and washes it away, and then they laugh and rebuild them. And so this is how we come together in community, and this is how we see God in the faces of each other. Those indivisible lines fall away, and we create something that is new and beautiful and honoring and celebrating us. It involves choosing compassion over competition and understanding over assumptions, thereby shifting from pursuing personal happiness alone to nurturing an environment where joy is mutual and lasting. There's a story that I read that I want to share with you that I think addresses this idea that equity flows naturally when we see life as sacred and deserving of happiness. And this story, or it's a story. Nothing stands alone. A pattern of the world events. Nothing stands alone, a pattern of the world events. In the ancient symbolic image of Indra's net from the Buddhist and the Hindu traditions, a large net holds jewels at each intersection, where each jewel reflects all of the others. Every point is connected, every ripple resonating through the entire net. It is an image of a world where nothing exists in isolation. This pattern is emerging in the world of events that are happening around us moment by moment by moment. The biggest news story this week isn't any specific headline. It's how many different developments mirror a deeper truth. Everything is becoming interconnected. It highlights the difference between connection and interconnection. Connection links one thing to another. Interconnection describes a system in which everything influences everything else. You can see it in the headlines. The conflict in the Middle East pushes oil prices higher, which ripples through transportation, the economy, and household budgets. It's a chain of effects moving through an interconnected system. We see it in artificial intelligence. Change is clear. AI is no longer just a tool we use. It's becoming the core system in communication, in commerce, in education, and decision-making. It doesn't merely connect tasks. It transforms how those tasks interact and develop with each other. Just a little side story about AI. Occasionally, I will go to ChatGPT to use it as a resource if I want to find out, some comparisons or some expanded ideas. I will go to that, and there's all sorts of stories about AI and more specifically about ChatGPT. How it is that they store the information, they store your information even though they say they don't. And there's one theory that if you subscribe to the program, then that's when they store the information. But if you use it for free, they don't store the information. And then there's stories about how, well, my information was shared and I'm using the free one. So being fiscally conservative, I use the free one. And so I was wanting to research something, and I tried a different AI. And this one would not allow me to use its free service, although it said it was free. It wanted me to sign up, and I think I had a 7-day window to use it free. And of course, they count on you not following up on those 7 days, and then automatically your card gets billed for it. And so I said, no, I'm not paying. So it kicked me out. And it even kicked me out of the free one, so I said, okay, I'll do my research another way. But it's just an example of how things control us, and we have the opportunity to either react or respond. And I responded from, well, I did research before ChatGPT came along, and I can still go the old-fashioned way and do it myself. And so in the area of health and science, researchers are engineering, I found this very interesting. In health and science, researchers are engineering immune cells to fight cancer by harnessing the body's own intelligence, the intelligence of the body. rather than just treating symptoms. And this is what we do in our daily spiritual practices. We're harnessing the energy and the intelligence of our inner intellect, our inner knowing. And we're no longer treating the symptom. We're getting to the root cause of whatever it is that has created this artificial idea that we are separate from the one. And at the same time, studies on ultra-processed foods show how daily habits impact the entire body and influence our long-term health. What we are experiencing is not just a series of developments, but a shift in how we understand the world itself, less as a collection of separate parts and more as a living network of relationships where each action sets larger patterns in motion. So what we think about today sets in motion what is going to outpicture in our lives later today and the next day and the next day. So this is why in the teachings of the Master, Jesus, he says, think on these things and list a number of things for us to think on. And in our Science of Mind teaching, in our spiritual practices, we're reminded to think on those things which are of spirit, those things which bring love and joy and peace and happiness and excitement and adventure, all of the things that bring about that good feeling, knowing that we are designed to live a life of joy and abundance and opulence. When we think on these things, we set new patterns into motion. When we see the pursuit of happiness as a shared spiritual practice, we recognize a truth that goes beyond personal goals. Our joy is connected. Equity, peace, and mutual happiness come naturally when we truly see God in ourselves and in each other. Change doesn't require force. It starts with a shift in consciousness, cultivated by imagination, compassion, and the courage to imagine more. And when I was thinking about this statement that change doesn't require force, I was just reflecting on some experiences in my own life where I have felt a disconnect from people that have been a part of this journey of my life. And I was thinking on that, and it's like, okay, there's some people that I have written off because of. And there's been something stirring within me lately that says, no, you don't write them off. You write them in. You write them in recognizing that whatever that experience was came for a lesson. Look beyond the feeling or the emotional involvement at that time and ask, what is Spirit reflecting for me to know about my own journey? How do I embrace the lesson that I learned from that experience as I continue on this journey of awakening? So it's using my imagination, moving to that place of compassion and the courage to imagine that God is more than this. In fact, Ricky Byers wrote a song that said, God is more than this. God is more than this. Seeing happiness as a birthright and a responsibility, we connect with the infinite wholeness that celebrates our individuality while uniting us. In this space, the world changes not through domination, but through love within. And from that love, we create systems, relationships, and communities where everyone can flourish. And so this week, there are two assignments that I offer to you, if you choose to accept them. And the first one is to notice how your personal happiness is connected to the happiness of others. Journal about a time when you felt most alive because others around you were thriving. Reflect on inherited stories, family, cultural, or societal, that shaped your beliefs about who deserves happiness. What are your beliefs about who deserves happiness? And then assignment number 2, if you choose it, practice one intentional act that affirms happiness as a shared birthright. Begin by greeting others with genuine warmth, listening deeply without rushing to respond, or offering encouragement where you might feel that you have stayed silent. Practice one intentional act that affirms happiness as a shared birthright. Remember, we are a unified energetic field expressing in this dimension. Another way of saying that is that we're spiritual beings living in this human experience, and we're on our journey back to that spiritual place that we came from. And I conclude with this quote by Barack Obama from his Super Tuesday campaign speech, February the 5th of 2008. And he says, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we wish to see." In the words of Gandhi, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And so I invite us to turn within as we focus on our inward journey. And as I begin our prayer this morning, I would like for us to just hold in our hearts our dear Patricia Saline, Patricia's daughter, Suzanne Boyton, who was a part of our tech team, made her transition last night. And so we lift our hearts in prayer with Patricia and the family of Suzanne, knowing that this transformation, this transition is a transformation. Suzanne has merely dropped this human shell and has moved back into the spiritual realm where her presence is now one of the ancestors. And we can call on that presence, we can call on that energy to support us and to love us and to know that we're all interconnected. And so from this place of love, heart filled with gratitude for the life that is well lived, we know that there is only one life. That life is God's life. It is whole, it is perfect, it is complete. It is a life that each one is living right here and right now in this very moment. And so I speak my word this morning of gratitude for life, gratitude for connection, gratitude for knowing that the world is designed to work for all. And that is one of the visions that we hold as a community of Centers for Spiritual Living, knowing that God plays no favorites, that God only expresses as love. This is the only idea that this energy, this idea of God that we hold in our hearts is one of love. And so as we move through our daily life experiences, we move through with love, with happiness, and with joy. I bless places where people are gathering in the name and nature of love, knowing that we're all interconnected at an energetic level, and that we celebrate this uniqueness of life. We celebrate this idea of creation, however it is that we address it, whatever name we use to identify the source, that we are traveling this journey together. I speak my word this morning for those who are experiencing transitions in their lives, such as the transition of a loved one, transition from one physical location to another location, transition from one place of right livelihood, whether we call it a job, whether we call it an entrepreneurial opportunity, an opportunity to create a new experience in our lives that are more fulfilling and more designed to reflect the true essence of who we are. As we move through this journey, I know that we move through blessed and guarded and guided under the great umbrella of Spirit. And so for this and so much more, for the prayers that exist within our heart of hearts, knowing that the Spirit always says yes. And so in knowing that yes is the only answer, I release this word, I release this prayer into the activity and the action of love and law, knowing that the demonstrations are manifested in a way that we see, we feel, we embrace, we know, and we can say that all is well. For this and so much more, I am grateful. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, please affirm it with me as we say together, and so it is, and so it is. And now is our opportunity to participate in the flow of circulation. It is a time to share our tithes and our offerings, our donations to this center. We appreciate the way that you continually support us through your financial offerings, and know that all of the income that we receive, we tithe back out to our home office and to other communities that are doing work in the world that is in alignment with the principles and practices that we teach here at the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We have an affirmation of abundance, and I invite us to say that together. The words are on our monitor. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And we have ways to donate to the center, and those are our monitor. For those who are mailing in their donations, please be aware that we have a new mailing address, and that new mailing address is P.O. Box 804, Monterey, California 93942. You may also text to give, and the number is 831-246-9694, and you may also donate through our website, montereycsl.org, donate. And we thank you for your contributions to the ongoing work of our spiritual community. To our friends and family that are viewing on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, we invite you to join us next week as we conclude our March series, What If?, with our staff minister, Reverend Tony Bradford, who will speak on the topic, Ancient Wisdom, Your Creation, exploring the metaphysical perspectives of Palm Sunday. And we know that Reverend Tony always brings a lightness and a laughter and a spark of creativity into the talk. So please tune in and join our family. Reverend Tony will be joining us via Zoom. And so we expect to have a very good time with him on next Sunday. So to our Facebook and YouTube community, again, we say thank you. We love you, God bless you, and we will see you the next time.